Yep, I track every single dollar, and in February 2026, I only spent $2,410 total. Take that, inflation. I am here to de-influence you and normalize living below your means. I'm gonna share my entire spending from February of 2026. Why, hello, my yellow groupers. I'm Carly, a finance grad and the creator of Best Money Class Ever, where I teach how to pay off debt in 36 months or less, invest to retire a millionaire, and stress less about money. Grab a seat. I'm about to spill the financial tea. Are you ready for it? Last episode, I shared how to budget your entire month in advance, and I shared my March budget of what I think I'm going to spend for this upcoming month. This is my February spending report with what I actually spent in full details from last month. I am not living at home. I am not in the middle of nowhere, America. I don't eat rice and beans. This is my apartment. I live in Austin, Texas, about 15 minutes from downtown. This is the car that I drive, a paid for Volkswagen. I went all out on Valentine's Day celebration. I got a massage, a steak dinner, went to a stand-up comedy show, did a fancy pants dermatology skincare procedure, got my haircut, and still only spent $2,410. Cost of living is on the rise, but life doesn't have to be expensive. We are going to go through my February 2026 spending. You can track your spending too with pen and paper, or my financial day planner spreadsheet is linked in the description below. Just for funsies, I'm going to share exactly how much I spent on groceries for the entire month. Yes, it is less than $200. Here is my exact February budget. How we're going to go through this is we're going to go through what I thought I was going to spend and then what I actually spent in all of the categories. How I manage money is as CFO, Chief Financial Officer, running the business of you. I use financial statements. I freaking love financial statements. They really help you get a good feel for where your money is going. There are three financial statements. The first one is an income statement, also known as a profit and loss or P&L. I am a fan of having a profitable budget where every single month there is money that I can reinvest in whatever I want and spend guilt-free on my life. And then the statement of cash flow shows the inflows and flows in a month. That is the actual spending. So I'm going to show you what my actual spending was, and hopefully you'll learn how to live large while living within your means. The third statement is a balance sheet that shows your assets and liabilities and then your net worth. I like to only check in on my net worth quarterly because the stock market fluctuates. For my February budget on the income statement, we have the starting balance and the income. Most of what you spend is entirely known, literally fixed, and 100% in your control. I look at it in terms of fixed and flex. So the fixed expenses then are savings, charity, housing, insurance, services, and debt. Right now, I consider myself semi-retired. If you're curious on the math on that, you can check out the video. My investments earn enough income to cover most of my expenses because my expenses are so low. The last few years, I've been semi-retired where I can live off of my investments. I do want to crank it up to be fully retired, so I'm going to start investing more and change course here. I do want to become a millionaire, so I am going to be vamping up and actually investing more and kind of changing course here. We have my income, then the savings and charity. For me, my housing, my rent is $874. I did a apartment. I found the best possible deal in Austin, Texas, and they were giving 10 weeks for free. I estimated 73 for electricity, 19 for water, and then 59 for pest control, trash. There's an HO fee, an amenity fee, and valet trash. It's kind of annoying. All in all, for my housing, I estimated I'd spend $1,026. And then for my insurances, some people have their health insurance deducted from their paycheck, and that would be a pre-tax deduction. I am self-employed, so I do have a plan on the marketplace. I also have renter's insurance, car insurance, which I've unfortunately found it actually ended up going up. My total for insurance is about $348. For internet, that is $65. My gym is $37.88. I did have a one-time annual fee of $64.94. I don't have any debt, so I outright bought my SUV with cash, so no monthly payments there. So if you're like, oh my gosh, how did she only spend $2,410? Well, think through all that you're spending right now on your debt payment. Easily, people spend hundreds of dollars on a car payment and student loans and credit cards and all that. Imagine if that was completely gone. Your expenses wouldn't be that much. Next up in my budget is my operating expenses. I take out a set $120 cash and make it last for the week. As CFO, I call them operating expenses. Like, what do you need to day run the business and life of you? That would be groceries, putting gas in your car, and other basic day-to-day spending. I'm going to show you what that actual spending was week by week. You're not going to believe how little I ended up spending on groceries. After your operating expenses, I have what I call life reinvestment. So with your budget, you want to have a profitable budget and you want to have a buffer of at least $500 to spend guilt-free on what matters to you. So the categories for that are medical, maintenance, projects, celebration, travel, and fun. For medical, I planned on seeing an eye doctor and having a copay of $85 and then $350 on Dermatologist. I have these annoying bumps that I wanted to get removed. So my estimate on that was $350. I didn't have any maintenance. Next category is then projects. I moved from living full-time in an RV to an apartment. So I allocated as CFO $100 for some upgraded kitchen stuff like plates and mugs. And then I also allocated $100. I actually have gone the last 6+ years without a TV. So I was going to buy a TV. And then for Valentine's Day, I allocated an extra $100 for a massage and chocolate and flowers and a few extra things to treat myself. For travel, I didn't have any extra expenses. For fun, I decided to join a dinner group. You pay a one-time fee for 3 months, and then there are multiple events throughout the week. You get matched up with strangers to do a happy hour or dinner or coffee, and so I decided to go for that. This is what I thought was going to spend. Let's take a look at my actual spending. So I have my actual spending on the statement of cash flow that shows the inflows and outflows in the month. So I started the month with $2,204 in my account. I got this random refund from my insurance from my last year. I don't know why. I called and tried to get an explanation. There was no explanation. I ended up getting $41.67 back from my health insurance. I categorized that as insurance. And then anytime I get a return or a refund, I do use the negative sign on this spreadsheet that lowers what I spend in that total category for that month. For the dermatologist, I ended up spending, I thought it was going to be $350, but it was $356. That I categorized as medical. For rent, water, and trash, it was $958, which was lower than I had anticipated. So I thought it would be what, like $1,026, but my utilities were lower. So that's always a win. I think they're gonna fluctuate and probably increase pretty soon because it's gonna get hot here in Austin, Texas. I did 65 on insurance, that was services. And then I paid myself a whopping $12.50. I did return this duvet cover. So your girl has some allergies. So I ended up getting a hypoallergenic duvet cover to help because my number one allergies is dust mites. What ended up happening, there's two mishaps. The first mishap was it never sent. It was like never received, and so they automatically credited and returned that. So then the first week in February, I took out $120 cash. So I had rollover cash. I had $20.31 left over in my wallet. For that first week of February, I had $140.31 for my operating expenses. I went all out on Valentine's Day. One of my friends had a Valentine's Day party that was on Super Bowl Sunday. So much fun. For Valentine's Day, I went to Dollar Tree and got some candy, and then we did a white elephant. I just bought whatever I thought that I would want. Candy, chocolates, a book, a little alcoholic beverage. I also bought a wreath because one of my goals for the year is to make this little apartment more homey, and seasonally I just want to have wreaths. That was $38. I categorized both of those as other expenses for operating. Groceries for the first week of February were $38.24. For Valentine's Day, we did this piñata, which was so fun. The host had wigs for us, and we did this wig stealing. Whoever could steal the wig won, and I made it to the finals. We did this game called Left, Right, Center, where you bring $5 one bills, $5 cash for that. I got coffee, stand-up comedy. It was actually a free show, and bought myself a drink. A happy hour was like a singles little mixer, and I bought myself a drink for that. That was 11. At the end of that week, I had 31.36 rollover cash for the next week. So the next week I started, this was Valentine's Day week, with 171. And then I got myself $100 extra for Valentine's spending. On the statement of cash flow for electricity, I spent $68.74. Renters insurance was $9.59. Weekly cash again was $120, and I got the $100 $100 cash from Valentine's Day. The second week for my operating expenses with my cash, I spent $25 on gas. I did spend $51.21 on groceries, and that was for Valentine's Day. I have a Valentine's Day tradition where I make myself a steak dinner and just go all out. And steaks are actually surprisingly a lot less expensive than you think they are. I had a friend of mine over, we painted nails, I made cosmos, and we had ourselves a steak dinner. For a steak dinner for two, and then plus my regular groceries, it was still only $51.21. On Valentine's Day itself, I ended up getting myself a bagel. It was $8, but amazing. How I track like the extra cash, I took out $100 extra and then I got a massage for $80 with the tip. The leftover Valentine's Day cash, I got myself some elf powder for makeup, some like shimmering things. I got myself a cake pan because I went to a Valentine's Day party and made a velvet chocolate cake and I needed some cake pan. I did go out to eat for a friend's birthday, Jack Allen's. I got myself some Little Caesars pizza for $5.40. Oh my gosh, y'all. Middle of February, one day I woke up and I could not walk. I have endometriosis. It was like stabbing pain where I was in bed. I called my OBGYN and was like, help. So I got myself together and drove over to my OBGYN. And because I couldn't walk, I was like, I'm gonna get myself a valet service because they have valet parking. So I did $3 cash for that. And the doctor ended up doing a scan. I don't know to this day what happened. He couldn't figure it out. But luckily I just rested and then the next day things improved. It was just kind of a endo flare up. The leftover cash from that week was $15.97. So the following week I had $135 for my operating weekly cash expenses. Try to use weekly cash for birthday presents. I ended up using my debit card and got a gift card for $26.26, categorizing that as celebration. And then I ended up buying the dinner club, which is called Time Left. I did a 3-month membership and had like a discount that was $35.24. And then the next week I got the weekly cash of $120. The following week I ended up getting a prescription refill for $240. My groceries were $29.50. For the dinner group, we went to Clay Pit. I was matched up with strangers. So I got me some naan and some chicken, what's it called? Masala. And then the next day I ended up getting sushi and dessert for $23.88 and $30 cash. So at the end of that week, I had $20.19 left for my operating expenses. I ended up trying to get another duvet for $32.57. My health insurance was $215.81. The gym was $37.88. And my weekly cash for the following week in February was $120. I got a haircut. The haircut was previously $22.95. They increased the price to $26.95 and then I gave a tip, so it was $31. Went out to dinner. This was the dinner group. I ordered a burger and I was like, mean cheese only. The server was like, oh, that's the same as like a kid's burger. Do you want the kid's burger? And I was like, I guess so. So it was like $10. Then I left a tip, so that was $13. And then the final week in February, I got groceries for $42.64, nail polish for $10.79. I went out to have coffee. Someone had mentioned matcha and I'd like never tried matcha before. So I was like, let me try that. It was a little pricey, $7, but I tried it. I ended up getting some Dollar Tree cards and candy. Your girl loves some candy. $5.68. I had my car insurance as $134.08. And then the duvet that they sent wasn't the right one. So I got a return. $22.63 was returned. At the end of the month, I had $1,044, which was the retained earnings for the month and the starting balance for the following. All in all, let's look at what I thought I was going to spend versus what I actually spent. I actually paid myself less because I ended up not spending as much. A few things have changed. I did budget out for the year to stay in this apartment. So my lease would renew in October and I would then get the full market rate, which would be $200 or $300 extra. Here's what happened. So I have a stomper that lives above me and it is like obnoxious. I am considering putting my stuff in storage and doing, instead of just a vacation to South America like I wanted to for this year, doing like a month in South America just because. And then coming back to get a new apartment with a new like 10-week free bee somewhere. I ended up deciding not to get the TV and not spending a lot of money on plates and things like that because I might just put my stuff in storage and go on another adventure. I don't know. My housing was about what I thought it would be. My insurance was less because of the random refund. My services, I think it was less because the annual fee was actually charged in January versus February. The cash operating expenses, I thought it'd be 480. It actually was 480. My medical was less because Walmart hooked it up. I did my eye doctor appointment in January and they give you follow-ups for 90 days for free, which was like amazing. Projects I thought I'd spend $200 on, and that was for the TV and the kitchen gadgets, but I actually ended up not spending that money. And then I got the return on the duvet. That lowered what I spent there. And then for celebrations, I did $100 for my Valentine's Day and then 26 for a birthday present for a friend. And then the fun, I thought I would spend $45 on the dinner club. It was actually a little bit less because I found the promo code. Much anticipated. How much should I spend in total on groceries? I did go viral as the #1 trending article for only spending $124 a month on groceries. And I don't eat cat food or anything like that. I had some pretty yummy dinners. I made tomato soup and grilled cheese, scratch made biscuits on Valentine's Day, steak dinner on Valentine's Day. So all in all, for groceries for the month, I spent $170.37, $55 on gas, $143 on food and drinks out, and then 101 on other. And that is my entire February 2026 spending, $2,410. Life doesn't have to be expensive. I am here to hype you up. Now it's time for a best money class ever money win. This one is a good one. So if you have tried budgeting and it hasn't quite worked or really fit, this one's for you. She writes in, I have used every type of budgeting app, online, Excel, just every version you can imagine. Been searching for years for the perfect one, and this finally met my needs. Thank you. Well, thank you. I am so excited that this financial day planner is out in the world. I freaking love financial statements, and I love the idea of putting a dollar sign to your to-do list. And when you have a plan with money, as you can see, you can do more of the things that you love. She loved this setup, and I really think that you will too. Thank you, my yellow groupers, for listening. Every show has a dope name that they call their listeners. I'm calling you my yellow groupers. We have slow starts. We get behind. Life does not go as planned. We get knocked down. The cards are stacked against us. The hands we are dealt are not ideal. We get off course. We get knocked down. But we never, ever give up. The trials and adversities, that's what makes us stronger, and that's where our grit is born. I hope you're de-influenced and we can normalize living below your means together. Make sure to track your spending too. You can grab pen and paper to do this, or if you want the exact financial day planner spreadsheet that I created and use, it is linked in the description below. If you've been meaning to get your finances in order, now's the time, and this is the best place to start. Here, you'll overcome analysis paralysis with the finance plan. This is the roadmap that you've been looking for to pay off debt and invest to retire a millionaire, even if you're living paycheck to paycheck and you have no idea where to start. I am really curious and would love to hear from you. How much did you spend in February? What things do you do to live below your means? Let me know in the comments below. Spill your financial tea right now. Leave a comment if you are watching on YouTube or listening on Spotify. Did you like this episode? If so, like it and subscribe. Make sure to share it with all your friends who also geek out over personal finance. Leave me a 5-star review wherever you're listening. It really helps others who are on a mission to pay off debt and invest find this show. Best money class ever, my signature live and virtual 4-week personal finance class only happens once a quarter, and the next class is starting soon. You want in? You can take the intro to class for free. Head on over to bestmoneyclassever.com to save your spot. You'll instantly get a free 20-page downloadable guide with the finance plan. As always, remember, you only live once. Be smart with your money now. I'll catch you later. Bye.